Welcome to the terrorizing horror of what? Well, obviously, whatever it is that I'm insulting somebody for. I say, you're so clumsy because I'm scared of being clumsy. If I say, you're bad at thinking, it's because I'm scared of being bad at thinking. This is that guy with 1.36 million subscribers said. It's like, can we not, please? Can we not do understanding theater at the expense of actual understanding, please? But people don't want to understand. They want to feel as though they know something, I guess. I mean, I get to some extent, like, sometimes you're just looking for something. Good morning, Rachel, darling. Sometimes you're just looking for somebody to I guess, reassure you that everything's okay in some sense. And to some extent, that's what that guy was doing in that video. He was saying other people's verbal aggression is just their own issues, even though that's not necessarily the case, right? Sometimes people deserve to get yelled at because they need to get their head in the game, and or they're playing in the street rather than in the yard where they're supposed to be playing, or a variety of things. Now, granted, yelling at somebody, scolding them is not the same as insulting them, but it's also the case that if you've tried to engage with a person through civil discourse first and run afoul of resistance repeatedly, well, maybe that person needs to be insulted. They they aren't engaging honestly with you. It's like they're not talking in order to communicate. And for people engaged in condemnation worthy behaviors, I think we do everybody a disservice when we don't condemn, but instead simply try to understand. Like, well, why is that guy a criminal? I don't know. Why are you so concerned with that part of the question rather than how we attain justice? You know what I'm saying? Which links back to a conversation we had some time back about the risks of pathologizing character deficits. Like, people have a moral obligation to uphold moral duties, and when they don't, barring like legitimate mental illness or something, they are accountable. They are responsible for that and should be accountable for it. It's not good to somehow say, oh, well, the reason he stole stuff is because he was depressed. You know, the reason he stole stuff is because he made a choice to fail to fulfill his duty as a moral agent. And that's one of the things that this guy failed to. I was just watching posting a comment on your TI video. What TI video? I mean the most recent thing I put up about that guy who said, like, insults are always about those 4 categories of things and so forth. I don't think of that video as being expressly about TI. But most people don't really understand that there's a difference between knowing and understanding. And it's understandable why they don't know this. Understand that. Because, you know, historically, like, philosophers have addressed the question of knowledge in terms of why that which is known gets the status of knowledge rather than, say, speculation, belief, positing, or whatever else, right? Missing the point entirely that it's not knowledge because of something implicit to what is known. It's knowledge because it is known rather than something else. And knowledge is no more guaranteed to be correct than anything else, right? Like, I could know with my intuition or with my experience a given position, a given answer to something or what have you. Either of those could be wrong. I could also determine the status of something with TI, and my determination could be wrong, either because I executed the TI incorrectly or because it's predicated on a faulty assumption or a failure to understand a different assumption. Like, for example, last night I TI'd wrong. I said the baseball game starts at 6:40. Therefore, Arlington, Texas, where the baseball game is being played, must only be 1 hour ahead of us. That's weird. I guess some parts of Texas are just 1 hour ahead of us. And I deduced that from the fact that baseball games never start after 7:30, and it and here in California it starts at 6:40. So, you know, I guess it starts at 7:40, but that's still like, who starts a baseball game at 7:40? But it's kind of plausible. Well, it turns out the game actually started at 8:40 Arlington time. So my assumption that no games ever start after 8 p.m. was what caused me to fail there, or my failure to assume that sometimes games do start late, whatever you want to frame it. So my in that instance, my TI wasn't wrong. I deduced correctly from the assumptions that I had. I just was faulty in my assumptions. But in other instances, maybe I just parsed wrong. You know, I don't always get shit right. Like, you give me some proof, I'm like, look at it and parse it kind of quick and go, oh yeah, that's valid, and then realize later actually it's invalid. You know, the terrorizing horror of beauty. I did like his taxonomy of insults as addressing 4 core areas, namely control, character. It's 3 C's and a B. Control, character, belonging, and competency. Control, character, and competency, and belonging. Those are the 4 things that he says people insult others or express contempt for others for failure to uphold those in one of those 4 values. I thought that was interesting, and I can't think of a good example, a good counterexample to show that that's not comprehensive. It seems to be, it's probably a comprehensive taxonomy of areas in which people attack each other. Competency, character, control, and belonging. Because, like, you could say, well, if you like say somebody slut shames some woman, well, that could be framed as a critique of control or critique of character, but it shouldn't be portrayed as a critique of character. If I call somebody dumb, it's a critique of competency. That kind of stuff. Well, I've been working on this. I'm not sure if I should have been working on this so much, but I think I'm going to take down an existing copy of Ain't Nothing and upload this but when it's done. But I wasn't happy with my previous production of this, and I like the idea, so I thought I'd try to fix it. There ain't nothing funky about your 2-bit version of God. No, there ain't nothing funky about your 2-bit version of God. Get your butt out the garden, go reside in the land of Nod. 'Cause there ain't nothing funky about your version of God. There ain't nothing funky about your 2-bit version of God. No, there ain't nothing funky about your 2-bit version of God. Get your butt out the garden, go reside in the land of Nod. 'Cause there ain't nothing funky about your version of God. I think it already sounds a lot better. Getting rid of the verse or the chorus, whatever you want to call the bridgy, the other part. Getting rid of vocals in the other part was a good idea. Like getting rid of word vocals, I mean. But I noticed that this needs to be because it's such a different volume level than the other thing. That should be fine now. Anyway, I'm pretty pleased with this. I think it's really coming together a lot better than it did before, Yeah, I'm super pleased that it's coming together a lot better than it was before, because I think it does deserve some attention, just like it needed it more. I think this would be a good instrumental thing to put under a video, like do a sped up video of me completing a task. Like if it's a 20-minute long task, you get 16 times speed, right? Then that'd be maybe about this length. And you see me like putting something together and stapling things and gluing stuff, and then voila, it's done almost. Right now, it's gonna be done in a second. How long is it going to take me to complete this task? This long, right here. Done. And then the music just fades out. See? See how that works? How are you feeling today, Rachel?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing okay.
I was listening.
I made a video this morning.
I saw.
Yeah. Because, you know, somebody on YouTube was wrong about something. I'm as shocked as anybody, but so I had to correct him. Yeah, you're right, and I did. I'm sure he'll never even see my video because he has 1.36 million subscribers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Picking on the little guy, huh?
Yeah. Well, it just goes to show you, doesn't matter how successful you are, you can still be horribly wrong.
Yeah.
And there's something I didn't like the way that whole thing he did felt. Because what it felt like was, don't worry, you never have to be accountable for anything. If someone's mad at you or insulting you or critiquing you, it's their fault, not yours. And I just don't like that one bit. That is not consistent with Eric Town at all. Man, turn that horrible MIDI crap out. There's no MIDI. I don't use MIDI at all. Maybe just capitalize the first letter. Are they actually scared? Oh, should I put that instead of what I put? Let me go look at the title in here. See. Oh yeah, I should capitalize the day. You're right. Capital THEY. That spells they. So are you saying I should should I still have the scared capitalized? I don't know. I'll leave it capitalized for now. Let's see how that video is doing. It has 45 views and 11 comments. That's pretty good. A lot of comments for 45 views. Meow yourself, kitty. So I said the first one right, but added us and said the second one exactly like the first one. What is means? I don't even know what that means. Perhaps make a video about how to fix healthcare in the U.S. How to fix healthcare in the U.S. I mean, make all health insurance illegal and require everybody to pay for health expenses out of pocket. That will allow market forces to drive costs down. It's not like people have better or more access to healthcare with health insurance than they do without it. Quite the contrary. Why are you always meowing at me so much? What did I do to deserve so many meows? So today, Rachel and I need to go to the Marchetta de Supra, namely the supermarket. And we need to get a variety of things there. When we do go to the supermarket, I want to get things that I could put into a salad. I'm thinking about maybe getting some tomatoes even. Even though I don't historically like tomatoes. But, you know, what else goes in a salad that I can eat too? Because that's an ongoing frustration for me is that I'm still waiting till May for my final product in my mouth. And this temporary denture is broken. And I've been instructed basically to not chew at all for, when he told me this was like for the next 2 full months. I've been trying my best. But it's a ridiculous task, really. Hi, Ike. Historically like SI. Eric, scroll up a little. Asked. Alright, let me go in the other room. It'll look better. I'll be able to better see with my eyes. Alright, dude, if you need to eat more now, you're just gonna have to eat unwatched. But if I'm not watched, I can't decide if I'm a particle or a wave. Alright, let's see what's going on here. Hey Eric, do you think INTJ 5W6 are the most powerful and brilliant personality of all? Hi, welcome to my channel. Today I'm talking about the INTJ 516, sometimes called the God type. What makes INTJ 516 so unbelievably smart and amazing? Scroll a little, ask Ren if he would debate you, and he gave the most feeler reply. Did he? Who's Ren? Eric asked Ren if he would debate you, and he said, I could see the benefit of that because I think Eric profoundly misunderstands my approach, which seeks to integrate typology and psychoanalysis and does not claim universal scientific validity. I mean, I well understand that. Your limp-wristed, soft science, metaphor-laden bullshit is that, yeah. That'd be fine if you were talking about, I don't know, how a person's emotional palette is like a season or something. Some other nonsense like that. But the problem is, I'm not being unkind or gratuitous in my critiques. You are throwing mud into what ought to be a clear pool with your wrongness. Unbelievable. Historically like SI. Are you on a liquid diet? No, I just eat soft stuff, and when I cook stuff, I cut it up super small. ¿Con quién estás hablando? Who wants to talk? I do. Imagine a bus that is specifically designed to transport a snuffleupagus bus. A snuffleupagus fluff and gus bus. A snuffleupagus fluff and gus bus is a bus that both carries snuffleupagus and also fluffs Gus, who's a porn star. It's fluff in that sense of the word. My predictive text fails most of the time. Well, I tried doing another one of the auto suggest titles today, but it didn't work out because I started with can, and it wanted to have me say, "Can we talk? Can we discuss?" And I was like, oh, this is too boring of a title. Artichoke hearts are good in the salad. I prefer the jars to the canned hearts. You know what, Mrs. Mom? I don't believe in harvesting just the heart of the avocado and throwing the rest of it away, okay? That's why I refuse to eat avocado hearts. I'm fluffing up Gus on the snuffleupagus bust today. Would you like to say, "Hey there, Eric, snuffleupagus is on your back again. What's he doing?" He's making love to me. That's what he's doing. When he's done, Big Bird's next. So I started this dream of thought. Maybe, perhaps. Uh, what's perhaps in Spanish again? Quizás or something like that? You know the song Perhaps, Perhaps, Perhaps was originally a song in Spanish? Do you guys know that? You know the song Perhaps, Perhaps, Perhaps? I don't believe you, I know, then no, to know, you only tell me, perhaps, perhaps, perhaps. Oh, you can't get your meow, 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 meow. And I don't want to wind up being parted, broken hearted. Quizás. There we go. Yeah, quizás. Quizás, quizás, quizás. It was originally a Spanish song. I never knew that until one day I was somewhere and I heard it. I was like, is this perhaps, perhaps, perhaps in Spanish? Turns out the original was in Spanish. Tal vez. Here's how they say too bad in Japanese. Zane. I like Zane.
Sunday.
Yeah. It's what the vending machine says if he doesn't have any more of the product that you push the button for.
Oh.
So like let's say you wanted a Sprite, you push the vending machine button, Sprite, but it's out of Sprite, it'll tell you, Zane. Too bad. We don't have any more Sprite.
Oh.
I like that cake song too, yeah. That's how I became familiar with the song at all. But the reason I like the cake song is because it's just a brilliant song and they didn't even write it. So there you go. It's just such a brilliant song. I love the offbeat guitar in the if you wanna wind up, it goes on the offbeat, you know. It's super like bouncy. It's a good song. But if you know, you only tell me, perhaps, perhaps, perhaps. But Rachel and I were talking the other day about how the actual single best cake song of all, I do have them in my pocket. The actual single best cake song of all is, I believe this to be the case, Symphony in C. Is that what it's called? Will you be an Austrian nobleman commissioning a symphony in C that defies all earthly description? This magnificent symphony in C. That money you squeeze from the peasants, to your nephew you shall give it as a present. This magnificent symphony in C. You are commissioning a symphony in C. It's fantastic. It's such a magnificent song. Yeah, such a good song. It's like, wow. You enter the room with great caution, though no one in the hall is even watching. They are so transfixed, they're forgetting just to breathe. They're so taken with your symphony in C. Like an oven. It's warming like an oven that's wide open. It's built on magnificent, it's built on victorious known triads. D7 says hello to you, Ike. Yeah, there's no fat, and the sound of the moog is fantastic, and the solo is fantastic. Like, you know, when it's amazing. Sylvia Plath's Open Oven. Keisha, that's not an appropriate name for your own vagina. Okay. You want to go inside Sylvia Plath's Open Oven? You're lucky Ruben's so understanding of your verbal quirks. Sylvia Plath's Open Oven. Here's a pro tip. Things to avoid reading. Anything and Everything by Sylvia Plath. That feeler response indeed. Who was it who shared that thing with me? Yeah, solos are barely ever good, but that's right. It's so right. It's like it sounds like, uh, something a violin might play in a classical song. Hi, Morridge. Sorry I didn't say hi to you already. I'm telling people how functions work, and when people correct me, I'll claim I'm not trying to make any kind of truth claim. F types. Yeah. Basically, he's saying, I'm doing exactly the thing that Eric's criticizing me for. And accordingly, I'm not sure I can have a debate with him because, after all, he might continue to criticize me for the thing I'm doing. Well, I am criticizing you for the thing you're doing because the thing you're doing is terrible. Well, it's just like no matter how many words or sounds or whatever come out, it all boils down to me saying we ought to deal with cognitive functions as though there is a correct answer. And because, in fact, there is, and if understood correctly, it's a powerful tool. If presented haphazardly so that nobody understands the tool correctly, then everyone is disempowered accordingly. And they're saying, no, I'm approaching this question as endlessly open ended, a place where I can ideationally play. The thing is, there are such places. They can ideationally play in astrology. That's what it's for. You can ideationally play all you want in astrology. You can ideationally play with ideas like, what color is my parachute? That's fine. You want to ideationally play with, like, what Harry Potter character am I? That's fine. Go ahead. But don't go. And now, here's my fun ideas about how calculus should be. You know how they have that weird symbol in calculus? Well, I'm calling it the curly Q. And I'm saying that what it means is that when you have a number and then a curly Q, then after that, you should put a letter, maybe S. And that's how calculus works. Now, that's how failure to differentiate between different lanes works. Like, here's an idea. Why don't you make content on religion? Everybody can interpret their religion however they want, and you can come up with any crazy ideas you want. And then when people go, that's crazy, you can say, well, it's my religion. It doesn't have to make sense. It's a faith thing. And then nobody can object, right? I mean, there are areas of psychology that are much more simply descriptive, like the impacts of trauma. They seem to like bifurcate in predictable ways. That's why we have these subcategories of um, adults who are unhealthy because they're expressing consequences from trauma they endured in childhood. So psychology is pretty good at that kind of stuff, and you just have to describe realities. It doesn't require you to explain the mechanism because the mechanism is really clear. People can play around with those ideas if they want. Here's my ideas about communism. Yeah, economics is another subject where I'm always having to correct people on. People don't understand. People just don't understand all kinds of things. People don't understand how the world works. People don't understand what wealth is. People don't understand what knowledge is. People don't understand what reasoning is, what objectivity is, what subjectivity is. People want explanations, but they want explanations that they can intuitively grasp easily, like that guy's explanation, which says, oh, the reason that person's insulting you is because they're scared of being what they're calling you. That's easy to understand, it's simple, and it gives you a satisfying sense of superiority anytime somebody insults you. It's also a terrible explanation that is wildly inconsistent with reality. But people prefer that because, as somebody once said, I don't remember who said it, but people remember how you make them feel. And behind that, under like the idea that criticism kills love is, which is a very correct idea, is I lost my train of thought. Well, I mean, just that that it is true that criticism of people, by and large, is not very helpful to them, and that it's not a good way to love anybody, right? But to, I guess, overreach from that reality to conclude that everybody who's critical, insulting, condemnatory, or contemptuous is doing so because they're expressing their own fears Well, I'm sorry, whatever your name was, but fuck off. Why are you making videos that are like 30 minutes long explaining this thing, and your explanation is totally wrong and obviously wrong at a moment's glance if you just think about it, right? It's much more common, much more likely that people get mad at, condemn, and insult people who have a conflicting frame with theirs, right? Like, what's wrong with you? Why don't you listen to my words and understand what they mean and process them like I do, right? That's an example for me, but say my dad. What's wrong with you, Eric? Why do you have such shitty TE? Why are you so impractical? Why are you not, um, why do you keep trying to do things that have a clear and obvious way to do them, or, proven way to do them? Why do you keep trying to do them in new ways all the time? What's wrong with you? My dad was not expressing, when he conveyed to me contempt, although he didn't express it directly, like in explicit words that say, I have contempt for you. But when he conveyed to me contempt, he was not expressing that he was afraid that his own TE was bad. Not at all. He was revealing how little respect he had for somebody with my frame of reference because it was not compatible with his. He had a son who was always going to beat him in an argument that he was always going to think was missing the point. He had a son that was going to hammer the singularity determinate quality of this element, and he was blind to such matters. Instead of viewing that as, insightful and helpful, he viewed it as thwarting him in his efforts. Because, after all, if you're TESI and somebody's constantly trying to make you hone in on relevancy, then they're compelling you to try to operate in your polar, and you're going to feel thwarted. Like, this is not how one goes about doing things. That makes infinitely more sense than what this guy was saying. And it's not the case that it's never the case that when somebody's insulting you or expressing contempt, that they're actually projecting their own shit. That does happen sometimes, but it's not. It's far from a universal rule, and it's the less sensible explanation for something. But does this guy care? No. Did this guy stop before he made this video and say, let me check with reality? Is this correct? No, he did not do that. He did not care at all, because he's on some kind of mission, like he's on a mission to get rid of insults and contempt in the world so that everybody speaks kindly to one another. Or he's on a mission to relieve people of the stress they feel when they are subject to ontological assault or what have you. I mean, that's a fine enough mission, but you can never successfully complete a mission in good faith while also not being correct, while being, if you're willfully incorrect while being dishonest. But if you're not willfully incorrect, you're just leading everybody on a wild goose chase. I don't think people generally are willfully incorrect. They're just, I guess you could say, willfully not parsing. Saying, basically, a lot of people are like that guy that was quoted here, and that they're both not interested in being correct and think that's okay. and like I said, in lots of areas of life, it is totally okay, but not when you're explaining things. Hi, Mr. Beethan. Unless there's something to gain. Did I miss a chat? I've got it on top messages. Put on all messages. All right. Well, and that's another big like projected frame versus projected frame clash area is for people who operate by an interested calculus. There typically is an assumption that everybody operates by an interested calculus, or at the very least that everybody is subject to being wrong because of bias. That is one way people can be wrong, but that's when I'm wrong. That's not why I'm wrong. But I can put myself in their shoes in the sense that I know what it's like to be totally baffled by the other deliberation function. I am, in fact, totally baffled by it all the time, even though I understand things as well as they could be understood, or as well as anybody does. It could be more well understood, but as well as anybody does about typology, it doesn't prevent me from having FI polar. Understanding doesn't help. And when I run afoul of relentlessly FI kind of deliberation that's in conflict with my TI deliberation, even though I know what's wrong with them, I still find myself going like, what the fuck is wrong with this person? Nothing's wrong with them, Eric. They're just not. They just have a different attentional matrix than you do, you know? But now that always takes me back to my default position. Look, I'm not saying be different than you are. I'm saying be as you are, and accordingly, don't try to do work here. But do they ever listen? No, they don't. And that's why I'm going to be all sanctimonious and indignant about everything. Those scoundrels being stubborn and wrong at the same time. How dare they? So I hope we've learned a valuable lesson today about how other people need to be more like Eric. Also, I didn't like this guy's tone at all. He had this like guru tone that I did not like. Like you might say my tone is pedantic. That's because I do know what I'm talking about. But it's not guru-y like when you see this, when you understand this idea, then it'll change the way you live in regards to other people's minds. Shut up already. Why are you why are you making videos like this? Maybe it is helpful to people to have this little fantasy that they can turn to when they feel criticized or something. I don't know. Maybe it on balance somehow does good. Was Alan Watts a cunt is a great a great poll, but the thing is, it's kind of like saying, is the Pope Catholic? Obviously, yes. But I will say this: Alan Watts was not nearly as much of a cunt as Noam Chomsky. Noam Chomsky. it, it really makes me angry that so many people seem to think that he's a smart guy who has good ideas when he has nothing but terrible ideas. Noam Chomsky. What in the world is going on when, like, academia rewards complete garbage like that? Oh, it's so insightful. It's not insightful at all. It's fucking complete shit. Yeah, he's a commie. But, you know, you don't even need to look at his political spewings to understand what an idiot fucking Chomsky is. You just have to look at his linguistic stuff. It doesn't even do anything intellectually. It's not good. It does not comprise good ideas. It's, and it's also kind of like obvious. The point is, yes, it's the case that language is hardwired into people, but that's not informative at all. So I don't know what's wrong with that guy. I do know what's wrong with that guy. He's an ENFP. And obviously, many, if not maybe a majority, of the worst intellectual crimes in history are committed by ENFPs. You doubt me? Let me know some names. Foucault, Singer. How about what's her name? This horrible lady who writes things like papers about how Native Americans should be allowed to, or more like the national parks are an attempt to codify uh, oppression of Native Americans because they define wilderness as an area where one visits but does not stay long term. In other words, because the national parks don't let people be hunter gatherers in them, that therefore it represents a codification of racism. Are you serious? She is serious. She is serious.
I forget. I think her name is the vegan teacher. Have you ever heard about her?
No.
Oh my gosh. She's known on like YouTube and I think TikTok for having like radical ideas about veganism and like going as far as to call people like evil who if you eat meat and like she thinks that she was a teacher, maybe a teacher, I don't know, but she's like extremely like comes down like really hard on people who eat meat. It's like
Well, that's a sure sign that she's not done any kind of intellectual work on the subject.
no,
You know,
no.
because it's fine to say like we have custodial responsibility to deal with animals in a humane fashion,
Sure.
and that's absolutely correct. But that's not the same thing as saying it's morally wrong to kill and eat animals.
Yeah, right. Instead of being informational and maybe getting people to go into veganism via her information, she chastises anyone who even thinks about meat, basically, and it's just like anyone. If you comment on her, she's like nasty. It turns people off.
Well, it'd be great if she'd come debate me. Like, it's
I
cooler,
know.
you know. But wrong people don't like to be subjected to scrutiny. There's nothing they like less.
No.
She's like, hey, I'm busy being wrong over here.
Yeah.
Why are you trying to correct me?
That she sounds like that. Like she's very aggressive.
Well, people sometimes say I'm aggressive. I was I'm not sure how I came across this, but I guess probably somebody commented on an old video. I must have clicked on it or something. But it was a video in which somebody asked me to respond to some comments that Spacey had written, where Spacey said, uh, I doubt Eric's an ESP. I think he's probably an ISFJ." And my response in the video was, well, I mean, obviously, he's probably motivated by a desire to take me down a notch in some fashion, or to invalidate my correctness because of his own subjective reasons, I suppose. But regardless, the problem with trying to say that I'm an ISFJ is, if I am an ISFJ, then point to an ENTP and contrast between the two to show that, in fact, I have fourth slot extroverted intuition rather than dominant. I liked Spacey too. And I made an effort after he left LA and all the shit went down. I made an effort to mend fences with him, but he was not interested in having those fences mended. And I think, like, that's probably a place where he's trying to create ontological safe space for himself. Like, because I've severed that relationship with him personally, I need to sever from his understanding of typology as well. It's not the sort of thing that that makes any sense, obviously, but I do get that people are sometimes driven by their fears and their emotional stuff, and they lash out because of that. That certainly does happen. Someone has to have a profound misunderstanding of what an ISFJ is to type you as an ISFJ, or they must really want to weaponize typology against you. That's what it almost always is. I doubt whether any of the people who question my type actually think with any, like, actually believe that I'm mistyped. I think that they are expressing hostility or what have you. Uh, you know, it's kind of a basic law of reciprocation, right? Like, if I correct you, what are you gonna try to do? You're gonna try to correct me too. If I hit you, you're gonna hit me. If I insult you, you're gonna insult me. Get down, please. I don't want you right there right now. Well, yeah, that kind of stuff happens a lot. You know, people leave comments and their comment is essentially responsive to the fact that I'm positioning myself as correct about something. They don't like that. That's what happened when I put up that short about why we can't define truth. And because I was making a short, and I knew that shorts tend to get a lot of new eyes on them, whereas long form videos, people are almost always already familiar with my channel. No kitty. Um, and this guy on that short put a comment that said, um, anybody can be an expert on truth. You just have to describe reality. What he really meant was, I don't like the fact that you're positioning yourself as an expert on truth. And he had some cause for that because I did give my like CV at the beginning of the video. Said I am a former debate coach, English teacher, technician logic. Because I thought, well, with new viewers, they may want to know who's saying this a little bit, you know. I do think you're ENTP, but I think the strongest case for another type would be ESTP, not ISFJ. Yeah, I mean, at least ESTPs are action types. They're the same 2-3. So it would be less wrong than ISFJ. And of course, in that short, I was not, even though I am an expert on those things, I was not making any claims that you should agree with me because of my expertise.
Yeah.
I was just explaining why you can't find truth, which should be an explanation that everybody appreciates because it's such a stubbornly unanswered question in philosophy circles or whatever. Spacey told you that my TE is worse than it seems, but that was about as much evidence as he gave me for his thinking you're probably ISFJ, but he also identifies as INFP now, I think. He may be an INFP. I don't know. His TI is slamming, but it's possible. What do you think of the Ottoman Empire? Well, I'm incredibly grateful to them for inventing the Ottoman. Without that, I would have no place to put my feet up on. Besides that, I think, too bad they went away and became something else. Maybe Turkey. I'm not sure. Oh, look who's here. Look who's here.
It's like becoming part of the live streams. You petting her on the armchair, on the arm of the chair, and watching Trouble eat.
Well, my TE isn't great, but it's obviously not polar. And it's not that bad. I just have to, circumstances have to like elicit me kind of shifting into TE mode. How about the Lazy Boy Nation? Well, I live in the very center of the capital city of Lazy Boy Nation, so that when I do have to go out of the house, I don't have to go very far. My TE is better than ISFJs or INFJs. It's not as good as like Cameron's or my dad's was. It's not as good as yours, I don't think, Ruben. Like, I really appreciated you suggesting that I put that like backup vocal melody line as a muted trumpet. I did that and it works beautifully. That, of course, is intuition, not TE, but um, when I talk to you about channel stuff, you demonstrate a lot better TE than me. Lazy Boy Nation. Okay, I've got an inky pink for you, okay? This is a Typhoon Gangster. Ruben, if there's one thing I will never not appreciate, it's good in eye, because I'm ignoring, as they say in sociology, which means sometimes what should be obvious just does not come to mind to me. I sort of aspire to TE and have good TE when specifically prompted. Most of the time, I don't use TE when I could be using it. It often comes out in conversation when someone asks the right question. Well, Gil, I've already offered to type you for free, so I'm not going to entertain more speculative musings from you about something that we could resolve definitively. I'm not sure what to think about you, except that I do believe that you are any front stack for sure. Probably high-ish up, but sometimes creative vigor does not indicate that. Look at C.J. O'Connell. C.J. O'Connell thought he was in correct, Acacia. Bang, 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 but bang, bang, bang. I mean, the reality is E3 Zombie tool function overuses more than dominant. You see that with me and my TI, right? I'm going to try to TI everything, and I'm not going to have the kind of nuance with my deliberation functions that a deliberation DOM would have. In contrast, my expert intuition is the thing that I'm not going to overuse. In other words, I am aware of where trying to generate all the possibilities is futile because there are too many branching conditionalities or something. Something my dad did not get. He'd try to come up with like all the any for all the different branching possibilities, even though reality was still in flux. Oh well, that's true though too, zombie. A dominant never entirely leaves the frame, whereas the tool function can put it away. I can do any FE stuff, no problem with that, including really any TI. I mean, there's still going to be some TI influence, but if I'm making jokes, for example, I may make a joke that is a joke about some TI problem. Like, for example, if if there's no aliens, then explain to me who mowed my yard. I don't even have a yard. That was a joke. Some variation of that I made some time ago. Not a very good joke, but a joke about a TI polar moment of some kind, right? So in that sense, my any FE joke making is still revealing my operational value of TI. But a better example of me not using TI at all is when I make up a little song. Like the song I made up last night that Doyle approved of, the one about the spoon, for example. I have a spoon, I put it in my ear, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
There's no TI in that at all. No TI at all. Being an ITP woman, I feel like an alien.
Oh yeah, and the spoon came from above heaven.
Yeah. Thursday's fine. What time do you want? Oh no, Thursday I have it might be fine depending on what time you want. I have a doctor's appointment on Thursday. But I could see you, Gil, being ENTP, ENFP, ISFJ, maybe INFP, maybe INTP. I do think you're NE front stack, but beyond that, I'm not sure what to make of you. Like your commentary on Jung when you were reading it was to note that it was very murky. But that murkiness could be perceived as murkiness by an FI DOM just as easily as a TI DOM or FI tool or TI tool, because regardless, it's saying just intuitively grok this shit, because uh, that's where the money shot is. It's like Hume's not wrong that the money shot from breeders' perspectives is often not a. I got distracted right now though. Arcadia 4458. Are you from Arcadia? I was raised in Arcadia, California. There might be another Arcadia someplace. I don't know. Anytime after noon is usually good for you. All right. Well, send me an email, Giop, so I have your email address, and then I will schedule a time on the calendar. And then if you want to change the time, you can do that, and they'll send me an email and stuff. It's a foot. What's a foot? This is a cat. This is a cat who likes to sit in the most inconvenient place for me. Mm-hmm. Right here on the arm of my chair, in between me and the table where I get my things off of. Just thoroughly in the way, and also not content to leave well enough alone. If I stop petting her, she will give me a pat to indicate that I need to pet her more. Right now she's thinking, okay, well, he stopped petting for a second. I'm assuming he's going to resume shortly, but if not, I'll just gently remind him that that's his job. Hakapia. No, I'm not going to argue with my doctor. I mean, the appointments there's not really much to them. It's really just checking off a box that says, yes, I met with this person the appropriate amount of times, given that I'm prescribing them amphetamines. Because, there's some rules, like you have to go see the doctor multiple times a year to keep getting prescribed that. It's ridiculous, but it is what it is. Wish for sugar glider emoji. Sugar glider? I don't know what a sugar glider is even. All right, I'll look it up. When I was a kid, my absolute favorite candy was sugar daddies. Well, sugar daddies, I had kind of a conflicted thing where I like sugar daddies better. Wow. Sugar gliders are they bats? What kind of animal is that? Oh, it's a small, omnivorous, arboreal, and nocturnal gliding possum. You crazy marsupials, you're always getting up to stuff. Mm-hmm. Hmm. Well, they do seem cute, but I don't want possums flying around my house in the middle of the night. I mean, if you just say, imagine a possum with glide flaps, I would say, get that, what's the word? Get abomination. Get that abomination away from me. A possum with glide flaps? How horrific. You're just walking along outside and this possum comes flying at you and it's like, ah, it's horrible little teeth. But, I do accept that they don't look that much like possums with glide flaps. They look more like bats. Chat, look at what Eric is condemning. You think they look like chipmunks? Chipmunks don't have glide flaps, Acacia. Duh. Obviously, only things with glide flaps can be compared against other things with glide flaps. Glide flaps may have been inspired by the sugar glider. And yes, he did inject himself with a lot of sugar glider DNA, but that's not how he got the glide flaps. All right, cool, Gail. I'll deal with that right now. All I have to do is go fetch the keyboard, which I, as always, left inconveniently and unwisely over there. The thing I love best about creatures with glide flaps is they are proof of evolution. They're the middle stage between no wings and wings. And you can imagine soon those creatures, sugar gliders, they're going to have their glide flaps evolve into real wings. Their fur is going to evolve into feathers, and then they're going to flap around like crazy. Think Rocky of Rocky and Bullwinkle. Rocky from Rocky and Bullwinkle is a flying squirrel. In other words, he's a normal, respectable kind of animal, a mammal, rather than a disgusting marsupial. I will show you a picture of the sugar glider. That's fine. I'm not trying to deny its cuteness. It is pretty cute, I guess, for a marsupial. If you're into that kind of thing. It kind of looks like it's got a little bit of a raccoon style face to it. I like this one of him leaping. It's like, I'm going in. I'm going in and I'm taking no prisoners. I wonder where he's glide flapping off to. Now, that's a pretty cute picture right there. Just goes to show you, you really can't trust marsupials. Sometimes they dress up as cute animals. If you could trust marsupials, they would have chosen to be mammals like regular creatures. What rhymes with marsupial? I want to come up with an inky pinky. Okay, this is a gross pocket having mammal kind of creature that is really he's really packed with a specific small country that's either in the Caribbean, Central America, Latin America, South America, or Africa. I'm not really sure. And I'll just tell you the answer. The answer is marsupial guadalupeal. Guadalupeful. That is somebody who's really full of the country of Guadalupe and who's also a marsupial.
This man has a special bond with his sugar gliders. When he raises his hand in the air, they take off one by one. Each one lands back on his hand as if it is all perfectly choreographed. But the last glider hesitates, afraid to jump. When it sees a gentle sign from its owner, it finally takes flight and completes the beautiful sequence. This man has a special bond with his sugar gliders.
Why does it? How do you get those things, and why does that guy have them? Like, can, or do they make good pets? Seems like they wouldn't. They're nocturnal. They're marsupials. They have glide flaps. How do they get up there? Do they have to climb up? That's the problem with glide flaps, right? You have to be to use your glide flaps, you have to be in a high spot. But to get to the high spot, you can't use your glide flaps. You have to climb laboriously up a tree. You can't glide up, Acacia. You can only glide down. God. Oh, you're going to tell me they ride a thermal up, huh? Thermals don't start that close to the ground. Acacia's always disseminating her crazy hang gliding mythology that she believes in. Acacia's convinced that if she could just find the right spot, she could just put a hang glider on, stand on the ground, and the thermal, the heat rising, would lift her up into the sky and carry her away. Thermals don't start that close to the ground. You have to be high up already. Eventually, Acacia believes that once she's mastered using the hang glider to get off the ground from the thermal, that then she'll be able to get rid of the hang glider and just stand in a spot and rise into the air on the back of heated air. It doesn't work like that. Riding a hang glider does not make you more buoyant. Just makes you more likely to die in a hang gliding crash. Of course, people who never hang glide still have a possibility of dying in a hang gliding crash.
Yeah.
But for them to do so, they need to have a hang glider crash into them. Well, Acacia is rather slight of build. She probably could easily blow away in a strong wind. I'm picturing right now like Acacia holding onto a tree with one hand while the rest of her body is like flapping in the wind like a flag. Oh no, I never should have practiced hang gliding. Uh-oh. We got a cast lighter. Yes, like Olive from Popeye. Exactly, Casey Jones. Rachel, could you watch him?
What?
Could you watch him?
Oh, yeah.
He keeps meowing, but I already watched him so much.
So what the heck? What?
Look, if they can do gender reassignment surgery, then I believe that they could do glide flap installation surgery. We just need to grow some human-sized glide flaps in a lab, and then get the best surgeons to sew them onto you. Wouldn't people be surprised? Wouldn't that be a great party trick? You're like, first of all, you show up in a wife beater, one of those shirts that has all the arms cut off of them, and because otherwise, how are you gonna have your glide flaps? You probably also need to have slits down the side of the shirt too. But you could have it maybe attached at the top, you know. Anyway, the glide flaps, they fold in naturally like this. And you just add the party hanging out. You've got your glide flaps discreetly tucked back, you know, behind your shirt. Nobody can see them. And you're all, and you know, it's a rooftop party like they have in New York City. They have the top of the building be like a patio with some potted plants. And everybody's up there drinking beer and stuff. And okay, she goes like, "Hey guys, look at me!" And she stands up on the ledge, and everyone's like, "What are you doing?" And then she jumps off, and she disappears out of sight from everybody. And everyone's like, "No, why? What happened?" And then she zooms up, glide flaps extended into the sky, waves at everybody, and then circles back around and lands back on the roof. To thunderous applause, obviously, and a lot of questions. Where did you get those glide flaps? How can I get glide flaps? Are you a sugar glider? This is Cash. It seems like a good children's book to write, like Glide Flaps Gertie. First, the children make fun of her because she has glide flaps. But then, one of the children, they're on a field trip. One of the children falls into the river. It's clinging to a log. Help, help. And the only one who can help because of the fast moving river is Glide Flaps Gertie. So she hurries up to the top of a nearby embankment, conveniently located embankment, tests the wind, and then extends her glide flaps and soars in and picks up the endangered child in her arms and swoops off to safety on the other side of the river. Are glide flaps sort of like sliced roast beef? No. They're like a beautiful membrane. Okay? A beautiful, nice, thick membrane that extends from here, all the way down to here.
Wait, would you say that's a glide flap?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Wow.
I'm talking about the glide flap.
Wow, you know because you've been there.
And it folds up. So if you extend your arm all the way, it goes all the way down just
Okay.
fine, right? It's just more, it's less wide, right? But then if you go like this, it becomes more wide.
Does it become more flappy?
Well, it's got folding bones in it, like a wing, right?
Okay.
So when you extend it all the way, all of the folding bones are all open.
Straight and flat.
And then when you bring it back down, your folding bones fold in like this. And so your glide flaps has a little bit, it still has the same surface area, but now it's got little ridges on it.
Okay.
Right, I did get it. And there's the other thing I need. I've got both things I need to do the thing I wanted to do. Was planning to do. So here we go. Gmail. Gialta sent me an email. Um, all right, let me get his email address. Meow, meow, meow. Got MySpace. What? You have your email at myspace.com? That's so strange. Right, calendar. I'm going to Google Calendar now. Okay. All right, I signed up for that thing. Forgot about that. Why isn't my doctor's appointment on calendar? Let me just see what time it is. My portal. No, I'm not a new client. I pushed the wrong button. Let's talk about my portal. My portal is a tender spot. Sign in already. God, what's taking so long? Let's go. April 16th. Add to calendar. Google Calendar. Add now. Save. It's Thursday, April 16th at 11 a.m. 11:10. Now, I'm going to go back to the live stream and see what time Skill says again. I don't know where the live stream went. I apparently closed that tab or something. All right. Yeah, Gil, I know. I saw it. I'm not totally incompetent. Attend the vestibule. All right, you beat your ass, Bach. So next we're going to look at the times that Gil said. I think he said he sleeps till 12:31. So meow, 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 meow. What does it say? Tell me the time again you want. Like, did you say after 3? 3 o'clock? I'll put 3 o'clock on Thursday. Typing session guild. Add quests. All right, done and accomplished. Done and accomplished. So it's finally time for all of us to live again. I'm gonna close out that tab. I'm gonna close. Oh, there it was. Close out this tab. Close. Oh, I want to talk a little bit more about this. I want to show you guys this thing. And casino king. All right. Let's take a gander at this thing. This is the video I was talking about before. By Chase Hughes. 1.64 million subscribers for this garbage. I mean, it's not all garbage. It's just it's wrong. You know, some parts of it are fine. The idea that some people internalize, narratives about, generally norms. Internalize other people's norms is correct and significant, but I guess that's kind of not his point.
Me. Somebody says fake, it's if I stop performing, they're all going to see through it. No one on earth insults at random, and every insult is a reflective pressure point. So here's the formula. Number one, you capture the exact insult. Cringe, unhinged, loser, gay, whatever it is. The exact word matters. So what you're really hearing is their mind reaching for the shortest possible word to reinforce their own identity. The second is you identify the judgment category. There's only 4 categories of judgment.
So, why does this bother me so much? The reason it bothers me so much is because it's it is firmly entrenched in subjectivism, right? Like, granted, he's talking about insults here, but when he's talking about the areas in which people insult somebody, competency, character, control, and belonging, well, competency and character are things that can very much legitimately be critiqued, and it's never a good idea to insult somebody because it doesn't represent civil discourse. But it's also the case that sometimes, like, people are condemning somebody else for good reason. Like, it would be correct to condemn Trump on both competency and character grounds. Maybe also appropriate to condemn him on control grounds, in the sense that he's not exercising adequate self-control. Belonging, well, the thing is, that's a consequence, not a critique, right? Like, it's possible to be ostracized by people if you don't uphold common community values, but not fitting in with a group and or being in the out group is not inherently something that's subject to legitimate critique. Like, why did you try to fly the plane? You don't know how to fly a plane. You idiot. That's a legitimate critique, and the insult is maybe not civil discourse, but understood as following from the same place as the critique, right? You engage in predatory behavior towards young people. You scumbag. Well, that's a critique of character that's absolutely legitimate. Or maybe you could say it's a critique of control. I'm not sure. But regardless, the critique's legitimate. And the name calling, while again not representing civil discourse, is understood to follow from the same place as the critique. Contrast this with insults that link to belonging, like oh yeah, well you don't have any friends, nobody likes you. Well, that is not an acceptable critique in any context because it's not a critique at all. It's just an effort to make that person feel bad. And regarding control, well, that could take a couple different forms, right? Like somebody who succeeds in life by a very regimented SI kind of life, such as they eat at the same time all every day, they go to sleep at the same time, they wake up at the same time, they have a clear schedule of what they should anticipate in the day ahead, and work through that one by one. They're going to think that I'm out of control with my SI. Like I'm failing to exercise enough self control and behave as a person who's going to have a healthy relationship with SI from their perspective would behave, you know? And hi, Fyoko Kyok. I, I, I don't doubt that he's got some good content because I do believe he's on the right side of things in terms of um, opposing suffering and being in favor of empowering people to defend against ontological assault, right? So that's really what that video is about. Here's how you can defend yourself emotionally against ontological assault by understanding it as an example of Nya, right? But the problem is, it's just fundamentally not true what he's saying. You know, I think most people who engage in insulting somebody, they are probably not expressing what's actually their deepest fear. Instead, they're conveying the value probably of their operational value or tool function value. So like I'm upset with this video because it's incorrect. And so I am aware of and acknowledge and noted myself that the person's on the good guy team. He's not like he's not like one of those horrible women who are like, now listen here, girl. If you think you can trust a man, you are wrong. I'm gonna give you some red flags. If you drop your napkin and your man don't pick it up, he is going to abuse you. I invented a machine that whacks me off while also making tacos, giving me 10 names for my marvelous contraption. Okay, the beat and eat.
Oh, that's good.
The taco stroke.
That's good.
The auto eroticamida. um, let's say tortilla fiesta. It's kind of a little bit vaguer. Could be the Mario's Mario's Mario and Pablo's um cojones y uh what's pork called again in Spanish? Chicharrones. Chicharrones? Is that what pork's called? I would say mm, the stimulate Mexican food. The stimulate hyphen eat Mexican food. You could call it Abuelita's secret. Abuelita's secret. There.
Abuelita's secret. Oh my gosh, that's good.
That's the name for this one. I don't know if that was 10 names, but as an indie Dom, I'm not going to be satisfied with just any old names. Sure, ESTJ, ESFJ, they could come up with lots of different bad names. I'm going to try to find a good name, though. So it makes the difference between 1, 2 versus 3. Chase is part of the behavior panel that mostly judge crime cases. Their most notable video is about Larry Sinclair. Watch until the end. Who's Larry Sinclair?
I don't know. All I know is that I think one of the characters in Euphoria is like 9, probably 9 wing 8, or like similar to me, and they fucking make the character so depressing that I didn't even watch the episode. I just watched a review. And I was so like, this is so depressing that I had to watch 2 feel good.
An episode of what? Of what again?
Euphoria.
Euphoria, which is a show about what?
It was about high schoolers and drama in high school, but it's been so long. They had 4 years in between. 4 years in between seasons, so they skipped ahead. But it doesn't matter. Like, it's just
Yeah, well, sometimes shows have really dark stuff and it can stick with you for a
yeah,
long time.
yeah, and like you know, I've been looking for Enneagram 9 characters, and she definitely is one. Uh, so I was like, oh, fuck, man, like, can't I find a 9 character who's like not fucking depressing? Jeez.
So Larry Sinclair is Obama's lover? I've never even heard of this
Me
before.
neither.
I didn't know Obama
Had a lover?
had a gay lover or a straight lover for that matter.
Yeah. I had heard of possible divorce rumors, but I haven't heard of him and a gay lover.
I mean, I have heard like um about this letter he wrote in college or something, or it came out that he was saying like, I'm not constrained to be one thing, something like that. But I hadn't heard of anything specific other than his uh, self-finding musings in that college age thing.
Yeah, it's a college age thing, totally.
Um, Maybe I will watch it. Fyoko Kyuk. Maybe I will. The thing is, in general, I'm curious as to uh, what it means to say they're a behavior panel. They're analyzing the people's behavior.
Yeah,
Because
a lot of
if it's just body language stuff, then
it is a lot of body language stuff. I think I've showed you one of those videos before where it's a panel of like 4 guys, and there's like a person who's been diagnosed as a psychopath, and they analyze the video of the interview of the psychopath and determine the body language to show what a psychopath looks like.
Okay.
It's not interesting. It's just not. It's body language.
Right.
So
I mean, body language potentially could be informative in some circumstances, but the problem with it is it's 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 not definitive or determinate. You know, it's like I could be going like this for a number of reasons. You know, it could be because I'm stunned at your audacity. It could be because I'm cold. It could be because I'm just I'm being weird and squeezing my hands with my arms.
Sometimes it's just comfortable. You don't know what to do with your hands, so you put them, you fold them. It's not.
This video is interesting because the panel disagrees. Usually they agree. Huh. Let's watch Black Mirror back in treatment. They let us watch Black Mirror back in treatment, although they probably were not supposed to, but apparently tarot cards were deemed to be triggering. Triggering of what?
I actually was thinking about pulling out some tarot cards.
Go for it.
Are you going outside though?
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
So,
right
do you
now.
mind if I go? If I do them after you go outside?
No, I know. And then after the tarot cards, maybe we go to the store. You mean like tarot cards would trigger you to relapse, that kind of thing, or what? Are you talking about drug treatment, or are you talking about like mental health treatment? If they're saying tarot cards will make you crazy, that's ridiculous. Oh my God. What ridiculousness. Mental health treatment. Okay, well, here's the thing. If you have a real mental illness, the treatment is to prescribe you the right medication. The idea that somehow playing with tarot cards has anything conceivable to do with it is offensive and insane. Hi, Matarazzi Sound.
Hey, Matarazzi Sound. You know who does a really good cover of the Zombie by the Cranberries? Delilah. For our wedding, we were playing karaoke. April and Delilah sang Zombies by the Cranberries, and it was so good.
Turns out it was in their head, in their head. Amen, amen. So, what are they talking about? It's super important. SMTH. Super important. SMTH means something. FW space SMTH means fuck with something. Like, what happened to him? I say, I don't know. He FW SMTH. To which the person to whom you're speaking might say, well, that's a vague reply. I need to get a lighter that works because this lighter's cached. This time I can't blame myself. I did bring a lighter, it's just cached. Omga. Omga is another combination of letters you'll see. It stands for oh my gosh. You guys, this is so adorable. Glasses. Bang. Treatment centers can be really weird. I did benefit, but the first one I went to wouldn't let me have Dr. Bronner's because it had non-psychoactive hemp oil in it. Yeah, well, that's why if you want to stop drinking or doing drugs or whatever, you should just stop. Don't bother with those kind of things. It's like having other people have more control over you is not going to help. At best, it could be a temporary stopgap because when they stop exercising control, if that's what's responsible for you not being on drugs, well, then you're going to immediately start doing it again. When you just quit, like using AA or something, not some kind of more structured program than that, then you don't have to deal with all that kind of crazy stuff. Like, it was important for me when I quit drinking. Smoking weed was critically important to my successfully doing that. It would have been wildly ill advised to try to quit other things besides alcohol at the same time. In general, in fact, but at the same time, certainly. And there's no reason to quit other things because they weren't causing me problems, right? But find me a treatment center that's gonna give me inpatient alcohol treatment while encouraging me to continue to do drugs that help me stay sober. You will not find one. And I guess, as Elton John says, that's why they call it the blues. I was enjoying the brief discussion last night about titles for songs. What makes a good title for a song? It's hard to come up with a good title, but I mean, usually the title for a song is just taken from the words in a fairly obvious fashion. Say, like, let's look at LCD Sound System songs. Tonight, that title is because the song goes, tonight, 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 tonight. Pretty obvious. I Can Change. It's because the song goes, I can change, 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 I can change. If it makes you fall in love. And um, Losing My Edge. It's because the song goes, I'm losing my edge to the kids coming up from behind. So, usually songs are titled like that. So when we're talking about what makes a good song title, sometimes we're really talking about what makes a good centerpiece of lyrics. It's different than titling a book, right? By and large, if you title something other than what it intuitively should be titled, then you have to put what it should be titled in parentheses after it so people can search for it. Like Anthony's song by Billy Joel. That should be called Moving Out, right? I'm moving out. but he decided to title it some weird title. Velvet Underground is a band with good lyrics. Say a word for Jimmy Brown. You ain't got nothing at all. It's a sad song, but the lyrics so good. Not the shoes upon his feet. He ain't got nothing at all. Oh, sweet nothing. You know, is there a song with better lyrics than Perfect Day by Lou Reed? I'm not sure. Yes, maybe, but it's an LCD Sound System song. It's such a perfect day. I can't remember the next lyric. Perfect day. In the park. And then oh, Sangria, right? It's such a perfect day. Sangria in the park. And then after dark, we'll go home. So plain and simple. It's such a perfect day. I'm glad I spent it with you. It's such a perfect day. And keep me hanging on. And you keep me hanging on. Yeah, he did a lot of great work. Lou Reed did a lot of great work. So many good songs, both with VU and he had some good solo songs too, like "Satellite of Love," "Perfect Day." I'm not a huge fan of "Walk on the Wild Side," but I acknowledge that it is good. It's just kind of like it's like his Hotel California. When the truth is gone. What do I think of Jefferson Airplane? Uh, I think they have like, do they? What song do they even do? That White Rabbit. They do White Rabbit. I mean, that song's just kind of juvenile, I guess. Satellites gone up to the sky. Things like that drive me out of my mind. I'll watch it for a little while. I like to watch things on TV. I love the way that it does that, where it says, I watch it for a little while, and then he reveals in the next sentence that he's watching it on TV. Because I can imagine him starting that lyric with, I watched it on TV, but then realizing the syllables don't work right for that. And so I'm going, I watch it for a little while. I like to watch things on TV. That's smart choice. Good decision, Lou Reed. Are you going to do Terror?
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Somebody to Love has got to be my favorite of theirs. Isn't that a Queen song? Stephanie Says is great. Um, he's got a lot of great songs about like a person's name. Like Candy Says as well, I think. And uh, Sweet Jane. Pale Blue Eyes is a brilliant song too.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel so happy. Sometimes I feel so sad.
We don't have to do cards. It depends on like if people want to. If not, then we can just go.
Okay. Anybody want cards? After Hours, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So many good songs, right? Like Waiting for My Man. Um, many of them I what's that song that goes? I think that might be Sunday Morning. It'd be cute if we performed After Hours together. We have performed it before. We maybe will again. Maybe we should record a short of us doing that even. That'd be fun. Maybe we'd get a few views. Need somebody to love. Need somebody to love. All right, you say yes cards, huh? Well, I tell you what, then. I'm gonna just do myself here. And get the cards out. And get this deck here. I've always liked this deck. Everybody always likes this deck. Bang. This deck. Elliott Smith took the style of the Velvet Underground and they cranked the sadness up real high. I'm not sure I've heard much Elliott Smith. But, you know, an iconic band like VU influenced lots of people in lots of ways. Jonathan Richman is an example of somebody who was very much influenced by Velvet Underground. He has a song called Velvet Underground. He sings the song, I was dancing in a lesbian bar, ooh, oh. I was dancing in a lesbian bar, ooh, ooh, ooh. At the first bar, things were okay, but in this bar, things are going my way. In the first bar, things were just okay. In this bar, things are going my way. I was dancing in a lesbian bar, ooh. All right, Keisha, I pulled this card for you. What card is it? Ooh, 5 of Rods. Conflict, strife. What does that say? Discord, adversity, no adversary, and challenge. So this is one card though, okay? We'll call that the problem. This next card is the context. And the last card will be the solution. Payment, news, gain, perk, bonus, royalty, Page of Pentacles. So the context of your conflict and strife has to do with your childish but growing up relationship with practical stuff, money stuff. And then your third card is going to be the solution. Why? Because I love TE and I believe in solutions. The solution, what is it? It's for you to grow up from Page of Pentacles to Knight of Pentacles. Okay, Chef, that's your job. Okay. Now, Fiakud Kyuk said he will have a card. I'm going to do the same for you. I'm going to do problem, context, solution. Here's your problem. Isn't this just like you, Fiakud Kyuk? You just hanging upside down from a tree, wasting time. Because you are the hanged man. All right, so that's the problem. Now, the context. Now the context. Oh, context is the world. The world is your oyster, but instead of shucking it, You're just hanging upside down from a tree. And now the solution. You got 2 major arcanas already. Look at you go. The solution. If you have Kukyak spirit guides, tell me the solution. Here it is. You just need to use your intuition a bit, your emotions, and become the spirit child within. Pour yourself a cup of emotions and sip it right down. There you go. Yeah, that was better than last time, Acacia. Anybody else want one before I put them away? I could do one for me. Here's my problem. My problem is I'm too much of a dynamo. I'm too passionate, too charming. I'm too athletic. Okay, sure, maybe I'm a little cocky. Now, let's see what the context of my problem is. Oh, I'm feeling stressed, worried, I have anxiety, fear. I'm afraid that my passionate, charming dynamism might turn people off. Now you got 2 major arcana. Page of Cups is not a major arcana. And then lastly, the solution for me. That's right. Ace of Swords. The solution is for me to break through, be victorious, triumph, and to pierce an opening. That's the solution for me.
Can you do one for me?
Yep. I'm doing problem, context, solution.
Okay. Which card was your second, Eric?
I got the context. Oh, worry and fear. One with the lady tied all the swords.
Oh.
Okay, Rachel. The problem. The problem is 7 of Cups. Too many possibilities, too many imaginations, dreams, and visualizations. Too many emotional choices. Now, the context. The uncertainty of life is the context. The wheel of fortune. Why are you having a problem with all these 7 cups? Because you don't know how they're all going to turn out necessarily. Now the solution. Too many drink choices, right? The solution. Tower card as the solution, huh? You just gotta burn that shit all down to the ground, I guess. So like basically you say, I think it's saying the solution is to spill 6 cups. Then you only have 1 cup left.
That's you.
That's me. I'm your cup. So Acacia, I guess your tower card was contagious and you gave it to Rachel. I blame you, Acacia. Appropriately, I blame you. Anybody else want a card before I put them away?
I used to think I was like the little girl in signs because I used to leave cups of like drinks everywhere.
That has not changed. Yeah, you're still the same Rachel you always were. My fingers caused Rachel to catch tower. Well, you know what, Acacia? I think you're being a fool. What do you think about that?
Oh, that's so funny, Keisha. Yeah, oh, I'm glad you still do too.
Okay, putting the cards away, and we're gonna wrap this up. Yeah, you guys are prepared for when the aliens come. Because no matter what kind of alien it is, none of them like it when cups are lying around.
What if they have glide flaps?
Well, then they can fly over the cups, I guess.
Mm.
Probably they do. I think most aliens.
You think most aliens actually have glide flaps?
Probably, yeah.
They just don't portray it enough in media?
Well, because as usual, the people who are making commentary about things are wrong. Okay? They have the wrong aliens looking like the wrong way, and they've left out all the glide flaps. So obviously, that makes me extremely angry.
I can understand they don't like having too many drink choices.
Acacia, I think you're on something.
Oh.
Why are there marsupials on this planet? Is it because they are aliens? Yes. Question answered. That easy. What other things are aliens? I'm gonna say
Bats? Are bats marsupials?
no. Bats are mammals that can fly, though. So I'm gonna say yes to bats being aliens because mammals shouldn't fly. Mammals can have glide flaps, but they should not be able to fly.
So, but they don't have glide flaps. They just fly.
They have wings.
Okay. So
They can flap them. You don't flap your glide flaps.
no, you just glide.
Yeah,
You're
you
right.
just glide. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say duck-billed platypus, obviously an alien. Wallabies, yeah, wallabies could be aliens. Also, I think various sea creatures are probably aliens too. Like those fish with the big pointy teeth that have the little light thing hanging in front of them. Those are weird creatures, right?
Yeah, they're definitely aliens too.
Whales are aliens? Well, here's the problem I have with that notion, Psychic Y'all. How is a whale gonna fly a spaceship? You can easily imagine one of those fish with a little hanging thing flying a spaceship. They've got all those teeth. They can bite on controls and steer them and stuff. But what about a whale? How are they going to even make a spaceship that big? So, no. Whales evolved right here on Earth. They evolved from cows. Cows left the land, entered the water. First they became hippos, then they became whales. End of story. There's a squid that's only found at the bottom of the ocean. Lots of things are only found at the bottom of the ocean because if you live way down there, your biology it only operates under that much pressure, and you pull it up, it like explodes. So, but yeah, there are creatures like whales who can both be at the top and be super deep because they've got certain kinds of pressure adapting bladders. So they are impressive whales. They they really are big. So anyway, I'm gonna wrap this up. Thanks a lot for being here. I hope you enjoyed this exciting live stream. I did not complete the thing I was hoping to complete during the stream at all. I was hoping to capture the next person. I'm gonna type please some video from them, but I didn't. But that's okay. I can do that later. Still, the day's not over yet.
Should I make a list?
Sure. There was something I was gonna say. The phone was just gonna go. I was thinking about it.
We can have dishwasher pods.
Coffee creamer?
Coffee. Creamer. Chips.
Yes, Acacia. We can catch stream. I'm gonna stream later today, probably. I'm not actually ending the stream right this second until after we're done with the list, because.
Yeah.
Okay. So, milk, half and half.
Milk. Half and half.
I think we might need more paper towels.
Paper towels. rice, anything that we broccoli,
broccoli, lettuce,
lettuce,
garlic,
garlic,
smoked sausage, cottage cheese. Yeah, this is the outro, everybody. Imagine the theme song is playing, ducking in the background as we're talking. Eggs. But
bacon or and sausage.
yeah, we could get both. No, we have enough frozen dinners, I think. I'm like not enjoying them lately. These frozen dinners. I almost always feel like I gotta cook if I'm gonna enjoy my meal.
I'm sorry.
Well, that's fine. I guess I've gotten sick of frozen dinners. Cereal? You need cereal?
Cereal. I could use a change in cereal, sure.
You want ice cream?
Yep, put that on the list.
Uh,
Do we need light bulbs?
do we?
I don't know.
I don't think so. Maybe. Hi, Susan's album party 1. Oh, well, he's pucker tart, lemon squeeze, friendliest guy that you will see. Yes, he wants to be your friend, but he comes from around the bend, so it will be a while till you see him again. I don't get Uncrustables anymore because I try not to eat sugar. So, what else might we need? Well,
can we get Jim in case you make
yeah,
bread?
sure. Oh, oh, right. I know what I was thinking earlier. I was saying to myself, I've got a good idea for a short. I'm gonna get another jar of yeast at the store.
Okay.
And I'm gonna try making a loaf of bread that has an entire jar of yeast in it.
Oh my god, how much bread is that?
Just one loaf of bread. I'm gonna make
with a lot of yeast?
With one whole jar of yeast. Well, it just seems like this is a title that might interest people. What happens when you put a whole jar of yeast in one loaf of bread?
Okay.
I'm thinking, the reason I want to try it, I want to see how big.
I know, it's going to get huge.
I'm hoping, but I wonder if there's like a ceiling to that.
Oh, and then it collapses?
Like you only get more rising with more yeast up to a point, and then it levels off, for example. I don't know. Yeah. We'll find out.
Okay, so more yeast?
Yeah. It's if it doesn't, regardless of how it turns out, it's a $5 investment. I just got to buy more yeast. And I want to get more so I don't use up the yeast I have for normal usages, Marmalade.
I feel like getting raspberry jam.
Okay. Sure. Put that down.
Instead of marmalade. Yeah, put jam. I think we have like everything. Dishwasher pods, coffee creamer, chips, ice cream, milk, half and half, paper towels, broccoli, lettuce, garlic, smoked sausage, cottage cheese, eggs, bacon, sausage, cereal, jam, yeast.
Let's put cans of chili there, because one meal that's good and easy to make, like one of the super easiest meals, is just rice with chili.
And I love it. Like, I love rice and chili. It's so good.
Yeah, we didn't think you were trying to fool us. Season album party. We did not think that. Okay, I think we're ready to go then. Yes?
Yeah.
All right. Love you guys. See you later.
Love you. Don't forget to use plain cheese.